Lecomte full field rundown. Let's do it. Trust the profits. It is the formula here. We'll be doing a full field rundown of Lecomte Stakes coming up this Saturday, the 18th at Fairgrounds. That's right, Fairgrounds in New Orleans. Let's look at the past. This is one thing I like to do with the Derby Talk program is take a look at what's happened in the past and how some of those winners have fared, whether they're in the Derby or not. I take a look here compared to some of the races we've seen recently. Got quite a few entries from the winners. Truck Phantom last year in 11th. We go back to Midnight Bourbon and Enforceable 5th and 7th. And before that, War of Will, Instilled Regard, Motom. But then I also have a couple stars here. So Instant Coffee, the year he won, who came in second place? Two Phils. Two Phils finishing top 3 in the Derby that year. Call Me Midnight. The year he won, who did he beat? Epicenter. He beat Epicenter by a head in that one. Epicenter came in second place. Midnight Bourbon, who came in third place when Midnight Bourbon won Lecomte. None other than Mandaloun. That's right. Who after the fact became the Derby champion that year, second place in the race itself. But of course, Medina Spirit was disqualified. So Lecomte Stakes coming up. And we've got 14 horses coming up. There's a good chance we're seeing some Derby competitors here in this field that I have to show to you right now. So yeah, it is coming up. It is the 18th. It is a G3 worth 250K, 8.5 furlongs on dirt. And what I was showing you before, the difference here, if you're looking at times especially, a mile and 770 yards is in yellow here. Then they change it to 8.5 furlongs after that. It is now at 8.5 furlongs coming up this weekend. We have 14 horses entered in. Let's get down to the full field rundown, shall we? Let's start with Innovator. 7 races. It took him 7 races to break his maiden. Went 6 furlongs, beating mostly firsters in his maiden win. Second place finish before that at the 5.5 furlong Advent Stakes. Taking the pace early, yielding down the stretch for a 5-length loss to Kale's Angel. Second place before that to Barnes. Probably his most impressive race to date. Holding his own against Barnes, only losing by a head in that one. But again, it was only a 6 furlong race. Pace forward horse. Looked impressive at times, but distance could be a factor here for this D. Wayne Lucas horse coming from Authentic. Got to think with coming from Authentic, you should be able to handle the distance, you would think, but haven't seen it yet. So has only done 1 turn so far. Maximum Promise, 2 races, 1 win, won a 71K maiden special weight in the second attempt at Ellis Park, beating Extradition by 14 lengths. Now, just to put that in comparison, I do call it the times here when they're significant. If you got a 14 length win, it sounds really impressive, but a 137 mile, it makes it sound a little bit less impressive, like the competition wasn't there. That said, 14 length victory, still pretty impressive, but the horse hasn't run since August. Ken McPeak obviously knows what he's doing. The McPeak BJ Hernandez combo won the Derby last year, and this horse coming from Maximum Security. So definitely an interesting horse, difficult to get behind now, given the layoff. Admiral Dennis, horse going into the Gun Runner that a lot had as the favorite, coming from Brad Cox. 4th at the Gun Runner, though. Never really got going. Looked like he was going to make a move down the stretch, but faded. Did not hold up against Built, who beat Admiral Dennis by 10 lengths in that one. Broke his maiden before that at Churchill, going a mile in 127K maiden special weight race, beating Mischievous Time by 3 lengths, ran a 135 in that one. Joel Rosario on the mount here for Admiral Dennis. Then Magnitude, talking more Gun Runner. So 2 wins in 5 races for Magnitude lifetime. Second at the Gun Runner, pushing the pace set by Built, but obviously Built had way more down the stretch, beating him by 6+ lengths. One before that had an allowance optional claimer, going 8.5 furlongs in that one at Churchill Downs, pushing the pace early, taking over at the half mile, beating California Burrito by 1 length. Steve Asmussen, the trainer there. Optical, 2 wins in 7 races for Optical. Winner last time out in the 72K starter allowance, stalking the pace early on, beating McAfee Yeah, I gotta think about that now. By a head, at the Breeders' Futurity was a DNF, bumped early on, mashed around, ran up to 5 furlongs, but something went wrong there, ended up walking off. Broke his maiden 4th time out in a 92K maiden special, going 1 mile there in a gate to wire 14 length win over Kaidu Declare. Keith Sormo, James Graham, City of Light, solid horse there, Optical. Golden Afternoon, very curious horse here. So three races so far, 2 wins, 1 second place. Sounds pretty solid, right? 59K 1 mile turf allowance optional claimer at Fairgrounds, stalking the pace early, closing for a half length victory in that one. Stakes races was second at the Castle and Key Stakes at Keeneland, going 8.5 furlongs in that one, stalking the pace early, getting overtaken by a closing Minaret Station. Now, everything sounds good so far. Stakes races, distance wise, but this is a turf horse. He's looked outstanding, but we haven't seen him on dirt yet. Coming from Golden Sense, you think that this horse can do something. On the mare side, you got a solid dirt runner there as well. So Golden Afternoon, definitely a curious addition. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put him into my top horses here, but a very curious consideration indeed. Calling card. Finished in the money 3 times out of 4 races. Third last time out, 130K, 1 mile allowance optional claimer, starting 3 lengths back, moving up to third, but losing out 7 lengths to Sandman in that one. Broke his maiden at Aqueduct in a 1 mile 75K maiden special weight, starting off way in the back after some bumping, moving up to first by the 3/4 mile mark and beating Magni by 17 lengths in that one. Huge victory, 17 lengths. Put him on my map because of that one. Final time was a 136. Not spectacular, but pretty good. Again, 17 lengths. Going to take that for what it's worth. So calling card, definitely an interesting horse to be considering here as well. Tough catch. Tough catch. So 2 wins, 2 second places, and 5 races. Winner of the Sugar Bowl at the Fairgrounds, going 6 furlongs in that one. Second place at the Ed Brown Stakes at Churchill. Just starting out in the back. Moved his way up to the start of the stretch, lost by 5 lengths to keep it easy. But the concern here is the distance, right? So we talked about with another horse early on. This one is yet to go a mile for Dallas Stewart. Definitely has the potential to, but in a field like this with some horses who are a little bit more experienced in going the distance, is Tough Catch going to be able to prove out? Is he strong enough to beat these other horses? Dapper Moon, 2 wins, 1 second place in 6 races, so 59K, a 6 furlong allowance optional claimer at Fairgrounds, stayed off the pace in that one, and then closed for a half-length win over Hawija? I guess that one. Fourth at the 8.5 furlong Kentucky Jockey Club, setting the pace early, but falling back to fourth, losing by 8 lengths to First Resort. Was 4th place also at the Claiborne Futurity, stalking the pace, set by East Avenue, but then fading 10 lengths back. It's also 4th at the Street Sense, which I didn't list here. So this is a horse that's been on my radar, been running in some pretty high profile races, but keeps coming in 4th place, finishing just out of the money. Is anything going to change here? My guess, no. Mo better than good. Mo better than good. Ken McPeak horse who's raced once. This was back in September at Saratoga. Broke his maiden in that race, going 7 furlongs. Starting out towards the back, worked his way up and beat 3 Bs by 1 length. Ken McPeak's putting Colby Hernandez on this horse. So you got to think that this is the second McPeak horse, and also question marks around this one as well, especially with the long layoff. Disco Time. So I don't know what the odds are, but I'm thinking Disco Time is probably going to be first or second morning line, and we're going to get to the other horse that could be first or second in a little bit. This is a Brad Cox horse. Last time out, went a mile, 127K allowance optional claimer at Churchill, stalking the pace early on, taking over by the 3/4 mile mark, beating McKellen, who I think is a very solid 2-year-old, 3-year-old as well, by 3.5 lengths with a 137.98. 134.98. A horse you got to consider here. I put him in your box, do what you have to do. Disco Time to me um, looks like one of the horses to beat. Jolly Samurai, 3 wins and 4 races for Jolly Samurai. Last time out, that was the one that he didn't finish in the money on, and that's the Remington Springboard Mile. Started in the back, made a move to 5 wide, but came up short 7 lengths behind Coal Battle in that one. Time before that, he won the Clever Trevor, 7 furlongs at Remington, closing from 6 to beat Dominant Spirit by half a length. It's a deep closer. I do wonder if he has enough, though. Some of the other races he's raced in for a deep closer, he has gone shorter distances. The Remington Mile, it didn't seem to have enough in that one to overcome Coal Battle. So, not exactly high on my list. Built. So, here's the other one that I was talking about. The other one that can be a morning line favorite. Curious to see what happens, though. But he was the winner of the Gun Runner, going gate to wire, beating Magnitude by 6 3/4 lengths and having a final time of 1:43.53. Wayne Catalano, Jareth Loveberry, hard spun. This is the horse to beat, in my humble opinion. He's got a really solid time at 8.5 furlongs, gone the distance. He's gone gate to wire on the distance. 2 wins in 3 races. Yeah, I think this is the one to beat here, in my opinion. And then finally, Seattle Road. 1 win, 1 second place. Broke his maiden at the fairgrounds in his 4th attempt in a 58K, 8.5 furlong maiden special, closing from 6th, 7th to beat Cromwell by a head. Strong looking horse, but I don't know. I think the rest of the class of horses here outmatch Seattle Road. So where does that leave us? Um, in terms of my safe plays, I'm going with Built. I do edge Built a little bit more. I may end up regretting that because I've got him 1A and 1B Built in Disco Time. So in terms of safe plays, just because he has gone the distance and looked good doing it, I do have Built a little bit higher than Disco Time. But man, it's hard to take a look at Disco Time and discount what he did at going a mile and the final time he had there. In terms of value, I'm not sure where the value is going to be, but I think Built, Disco Time are probably going to get enough money where Admiral Dennis will give you value. And we can probably look at the Gun Runner and say maybe Admiral Dennis had a down day. He recovers for this one. Still a very good horse. Joel Rosario on the mount there. So maybe Admiral Dennis has more to give than what we saw previously. And then finally, Calling Card. This is a horse that I've been interested in. I think Calling Card underneath could end up giving you some value here. So that is what I have. Whoa, coming in big screen there. So let me know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments who's going to be your winner for Lecomte, where you're seeing the value, especially once we have the morning line come out. Then we'll be able to get a better idea of who's going to be the value, who's going to be the who's going to be the cheap one. But as I always say, if you're going to bet responsibly and have a good day.